Welcome to this Joyful Living series. We often have need of someone who can listen to us, hear our stories, feel our feelings, whether it is that feeling of joy, pain, or sorrow. We need some level of attention from those we talk to, whether they are family members, friends, or colleagues. The feeling of not being listened to can be very frustrating. Listening is not the same as hearing what someone says. Hearing is a process by which sound is received as a stimuli, while listening has to do with hearing something with thoughtful attention and consideration. When a person listens with attention, responds appropriately without unnecessary interruptions and quick judgments, we are encouraged to go on with the conversation. It gives a good feeling of being taken seriously. But good listening is not something we often experience. Everyone seems to like to talk and be listened to, but listening to others is not often an easy task. The art of listening is something that very few people understand and practice. There are various techniques and guides on listening, but one thing is clear. We all have ears and can listen with attention. It does not depend only on a given technique or complicated practice, even though these can be of help. Anyone who understands the importance of listening and is determined to engage the other with care and concern can gradually develop his or her listening skills. Listening with patience, empathy, objectivity, and of course, with the right attitude that is not judgmental of the person, helps us to get the central message, ideas, facts, as well as understand the context and situation of the speaker. Depending on the level of the conversation and the depth of our listening capacity, we are, so to say, led into the thought pattern or existential situation of the person to gain deeper insight into what, why, how, and all that surround the subject of discussion, which in some cases cannot be perfectly expressed in words. When we listen with depth, we communicate our interest in the subject or the person, even without saying a word, thereby giving the person confidence to go on in a more relaxed and trustful manner. Listening can be healing to someone who feels neglected, uncared for, and unloved. There are deeper feelings and human longings that are better expressed in silent, assuring presence that listening provides, rather than in many words. We are living in a very busy period. Our world is getting noisier every day. Everyone wants to talk, just talk. But when everyone is talking, no one is talking. Too much talk seems to be a way of proving one's knowledge, but in most cases, it only exposes the limits of that knowledge, leaving the person empty. The one who listens often speaks with greater insight and wisdom. Besides, there are so many things that are eating deep into our time and attention. Social media often keep people glued to their telephones such that those around them do not get the attention that they need. There are also the pressure of work and so many other things that come in our daily schedule. In this present situation of things, good listening is one thing that families, friends, and colleagues need to better understand one another. More importantly, good listening is essential to anyone who genuinely wants to be at home with oneself. Listening to others is important, but you can't best listen to others if you have learned to listen to yourself. There is often this tendency of self-flight, the tendency to avoid silence and moments that bring self-reflection. There are, of course, several reasons for self-flight, which might include unresolved trauma, fear of something, or intense emotions and self-judgment. Besides, the journey to the self, we know, is the longest and most difficult journey. But it is as well the path to awareness, genuine healing, self-realization, among others. Learning to listen to ourselves strengthens the connection with who we are, helping us to be more able to recognize and trust our thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. People who don't listen to themselves might not even notice the simplest bodily reactions, let alone understand the deeper feelings, emotions, and spiritual needs that demand attention. Learning to listen to oneself is very beneficial. It frees one from self-deceit, improves self-esteem and confidence, fosters self-reliance, and leads to better health, relationships, and work performance. Our relationship with God actually improves when we understand and accept the truth about ourselves. The human tendency to self-flight does affect our ability to listen to God. Have you considered the many vocal prayers we pour out to God? Even when we seem to be silent before Him, our hearts and minds are busy, wandering from one thing to another, rather than get quiet and listen to what God has to say. It is easy to tell God all the things He has to do and even direct Him on how to do them. But the most important, which is listening to Him with trust and confidence like a child before his beloved parents, take the shortest time of all. Right from the earliest times, whenever God calls, He has a message. And only those who listen attentively to His message understand the heart of God. Understanding God is understanding ourselves, because we are part and parcel of Him, made in His image and likeness, and embodying His life and presence. Listening brings us to that awareness. Effective listening to ourselves and to God enables us to perceive clearly the effects of our ego and pride. Blind pursuits of wealth, honor, position, and fame as they truly are, and are therefore able to place everything where it belongs. Then we begin the journey to that awareness that brings about the renewal of mind and that enables us to separate things in their order of priority. That is when we can actually begin to live as true images of God. May we learn to listen effectively to those around us, quieting our inner noise, overcome our distractions, and place ourselves in the presence of God so that we can see things in new lights and relate differently with persons and things around us. Thanks for watching.